I just start from the beginning?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. If everyone wants to close their eyes and imagine this. Imagine you're on the Boeing 737 MAX with whoever you love the most, and while you're taking off, 10 minutes later you're driving 700 miles an hour straight into the ground. My name is Cristian P, and I'll be talking about the Boeing 737 MAX today. There's two main problems that contributed to the crash. The Maneuver and Characteristic Augmentation System, or the MCAS itself, is the first problem of the crashes of the MAX. Boeing had this new system when they built the MCAS, which was a safety measure to help the plane not stall, but this malfunctioned and flew the plane straight in the ground. At the time when the Boeing 737 MAX came out, they had a new system built in. It would help to keep the plane to not stall. Well, when the plane was malfunctioning, the pilots of the plane turned the MCAS system off so they could control the plane, but when they turned the system back on, the system thought it was stalling. So even though they were flying in a straight line, it went straight down. And they could do nothing about it. Another part of the problem that contributed to the crashes was the lack of training. Even though it was a new plane, it was almost the same as the last Boeing 737, just only with a new system. So the pilots of the planes that were crashing only had training done on an iPad. So they barely had any training on the system. Also, what was a cause to their downfall, because they weren't supposed to turn it back on, because if it was malfunctioning, then it would be a major risk to everybody in the plane itself, but they didn't know that because of the lack of training. As of right now, Boeing is currently working on the Boeing 737 MAX control systems because the plane is grounded, but is set to go back off in January. One thing they're working on is they're going to change the MAX automated flight control system so that it will take input from both flight control computers instead of using only one on each flight, as stated from Seattle Times. So if the system fails, it will fall into a fail-safe 2-channel systems with each of the computers operating from an independent set of sensors, which will make the flawed MCAS system more reliable and safer. Boeing issued a statement saying that they expect to come out with a new pilot training material for the 737 MAX to the FFA in the coming weeks. In an effort to get the planes flying again, Boeing is hosting pilots from airlines including United and American Airlines to try the MAX software changes in its simulation. The Boeing 737 MAX is currently grounded and is expected to be back up flying in the skies in January.